多都市報聯合主辦 ，co-organised by Market Village 城市廣場協辦嘅 Toronto First Forum 第一都市論壇現在開始。Please have a round of applause to our MCs of today。請以熱烈嘅掌聲歡迎今日嘅大會主持 Mr. Simon Lee from Toronto First Radio， 多倫多第一台嘅李家雄先生 ，and Mr. Andy Moo from Toronto City Newspaper， 多倫多都市報嘅木賢先生。
歡迎大家咧嚟到由多倫多第一台、多倫多都市報城市廣場合辦同埋多倫多網上電視協辦嘅第一都市論壇。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Markham Union Field Riding Bilingual All Candidates Debate in Cantonese and English. I'm Simon Lee, the host of Power Politics on AM 1540 Toronto First Radio, and besides me is Andy Moo, the editor-in-chief of Toronto City Newspaper. We are the moderators of this afternoon's debate. 木賢你好啊，
家豪，我哋呢場論戰咧係稱為有真正有候選人呢個參加嘅一場論戰，係正過呢個正喺邊度咧嚇？
正啊，梗係你都講咗咧，有真正候選人出席啊嘛。咁呢個亦都係咧，如果今朝大家睇咗 Toronto Star 咧，其實今日 Toronto Star 都有篇 article， 我哋未有論壇都已經有 Toronto Star 報導咯喎。因為我哋咧就係今次呢個聯邦大選呢個 riding 裏面咧，係第一次真正出現一個雙語嘅論壇啦。咁無論大家咧係講廣東話又好啊，講英文都好，都忽然間可以發文嘅喎。其實
即是話貨真價實就話可能喺1月23號呢次大選裏邊咧，我哋呢中間可能會有某一位咧就會成為呢個
國會議員
啦。咁咧就我哋知道今日嚟咗好多團隊啦，睇下啲團隊下面嘅反應好唔好？
係啊，喂，邊一個係團隊嘅就啲反應。
保守黨嘅係邊度啊
？Okay, which from the Conservative Party? Okay, Liberal Party supporters 自由黨。Okay, what about NDP, New Democratic Party, any supporters? Okay, great. Okay.
咁啊時間有限啦。
係啊，我哋先介紹嘉賓。介紹嘉賓好係。咁啊，今日第一都市論壇咧邀請咗萬錦市裕仁村啊3位候選人嘅。Let me introduce the candidates of the Markham Union Field in today's debate. First of all, starting from my right is the interpreter. I'll introduce her first. Amy Go is going to be our common interpreter of this afternoon. 姚律師，多謝你先。And then on Amy's right-hand side is Janice Hagan of the New Democratic Party. 新民主黨 Janice Hagan. Then we have in the middle Minister of National Revenue, Liberal candidate Mr. John McCollum. 聯邦稅務部長自由黨嘅麥嘉廉先生。咁至於咧喺我哋最右手邊咧就係保守黨嘅李國賢先生 Mr. Joe Lee of the Conservative Party.
好啦，介紹完3位嘉賓之後咧，我哋會開始第一 part 嘅呢個程序啦。
我哋解釋少少規則先啦。咁今日咧，我哋咧就係會最初嘅時候咧，由每位候選人咧係可以有一個 opening statement 啦，係一個嘅開場白。咁咧就1分鐘係英文，然之後Amy幫我哋翻譯係廣東話嘅。咁除此之外咧，我哋每位候選人要答我哋3個問題啦。咁跟住3點之後咧，今日個 forum 係屬於大家㗎啦。咁每人咧都可以去呢支咪前面。咁我哋有位同事一陣間咧係會幫你登記嘅。咁你就可以咧就向佢發問嘅。咁最尾咧就有一個closing statement. Okay, first of all, let me say quickly a few words about today's debate format. First of all, we are going to have opening statement by each candidate, 1 minute in English and 1 minute in Cantonese. And then each candidate is going to respond to 3 questions from the moderator. So we're talking about Andy and me. Then after 3 p.m., we will open to the floor for questions. So after 3, we will have a lady standing there. It's our staff called Emily. You can talk to her, sign up with her, and then we are going to give you a chance to ask the candidates questions face to face in order. And lastly, we're going to have closing statement from candidates, 1 minute in English and once again in Cantonese interpretation as well.
咁根據頭先咧，我哋進行咗一次抽籤嘅結果咧，就發現佢先介紹自己嘅次序咧，就係先係 McCollum， 然後咧就 Joe Lee， 就到我哋新聞主導 Janice。
Okay, we'll start with Mr. McCollum first, and you will have 1 minute, and at the end you will hear signals when you have 10 seconds left. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Well, thank you, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really pleased to be here with you today at what might be Canada's first ever bilingual English-Cantonese political debate. So it's wonderful to be making history. I think this is a very important election. Partly I think that the Liberal economic record is great. We inherited a mess. We currently have the lowest unemployment rate in 30 years. But perhaps more fundamentally, there are huge differences between Paul Martin's vision of Canada and Stephen Harper's vision of Canada. Whether we're talking about war and peace and going to Iraq, whether we're talking about the environment and the Kyoto Agreement, whether we're talking about individual rights, there are many, many differences, so I urge you to vote Liberal.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McCullough. 唔該啊 ，Amy 翻譯。
我好高興今日有機會嚟參加呢個嘅大會。咁有可能今日咧係加拿大有史以來咧第一個係由中英文同時嘅一個嘅競選嘅一個討論嘅。咁所以我好恭喜我哋今日嘅主辦嘅機構。咁呢個係一個非常之緊要嘅競選。咁而我哋自由黨咧喺呢個經濟上面嘅記錄係非常之好嘅。咁我哋以前嘅經濟咧就非常之差啦，但係自由黨上場咗之後咧，我哋30年以來咧第一次係最低嘅呢個失業率係我哋而家發生嘅。咁而咧自由黨同埋呢個保守黨咧有好大嘅分歧。一方面嘅分歧就係呢個即係戰爭嘅問題啦，係伊拉克嘅戰爭啦。第二咧就係環境嘅保護方面啦。第三咧就係個人嘅自由嘅權利嘅方面嘅。所以我希望大家可以投自由黨一票。
Hey, good job, Amy. So we have to apply the same rule on you.
好公道啊，翻譯都俾1分鐘。
Okay, then we will have Jolie of the Conservative Party. 保守黨李國賢先生有1分鐘嘅時間 ，1 minute starting now.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jolie, Conservative candidate for Member of Parliament. Thanks for coming today to listen to the interview. I just want to lay out our party position here. After 12 years of Liberal government, you find continuous waste of money, you continuous corruption and entitlement, they continue to look after their own people. Nothing has been achieved. 93, they have a red book, say they're going to get the health care fixed. Guess what happened? The waiting line is more longer now, and my father died 4 years ago because of waiting at the corridor of Scarborough General Hospital. That shouldn't happen. It was under the Liberal government cutting off transfer to the province, and there are many more things that happen in the Liberal. Today, more crime is committed on a crime. They wasted $2 billion, by the gun registry. Instead of, we should have used that money to hire more police officers. Thank you for supporting.
李國賢先生。Okay, Amy.
我係張經係保守黨嘅候選人。我想話俾你聽，我哋嘅保守黨嘅嗰啲立場。咁喺12年呢個自由黨嘅政府之下咧，我哋嘥咗好多錢，好多貪污。咁而咧就係佢哋自由黨咧就成日咧睇住佢哋自己有。咁喺93年嘅佢哋答應咧，我哋會改善健康保險計劃。但係到而家咧，我哋要等手術等嘅時間越嚟越長。我爸爸本身咧亦都係4年前1日要等手術，等唔切就過咗身嘅。咁而且因為咧就係因為自由黨咧就將嗰啲錢咧就係本來係要俾嗰啲省政府嘅錢咧就越減越少。咁而仲有咧佢哋嘥咗成2個 billion 係做嗰個槍械嘅註冊，但係咧我哋嘅罪案越嚟越更加多，所以我希望你支持保守黨。
Okay, this is a clap for Amy as well, I guess. Okay, 多謝你 Amy. Okay, 跟住咧，我哋係輪到最後係新民主黨嘅代表 Janice Hagan of the New Democratic Party. You have 1 minute starting now.
Thank you, and thank you for coming out on a busy Saturday to get more involved in politics. It's important to see the actual people running, to hear them speak, and select not only the party you like, but the individual person you think will best represent you. I am a very hard worker. I've lived in Markham for 16 years. I've raised 3 children here with my husband. I work at Seneca College with new Canadian students, helping them stay in school, helping them get meaningful employment after school. I also work with youth at the Jane Finch corridor, helping change people's lives and get them into post-secondary education. I work hard. I also volunteer with my co-workers as a union representative, and I guarantee once they elect me to something, they keep electing me, and the same will be for Markham. If you give me a chance and elect me as your representative in Ottawa, I promise you will elect me again.
Thank you, Ms. Hagan.
好多謝大家又抽空喺一個好繁忙嘅星期六出嚟，我覺得咧唔單止係話要揀個黨，你要揀個人，你要知道你選擇嘅嗰個嘅候選人係咩人。我係一個非常之勤力嘅人，我喺 Markham 住咗16年，我有個丈夫有3個仔，我喺 Seneca College 嗰度教新移民英文，又幫佢哋揾工做，我又有參與社區啦，譬如話又幫嗰啲青年人即係個活動啦，又喺我嘅工會嗰度做即係義務嘅工作啦。咁因為我好勤力，所以咧我當選咗工會代表咧，我年年咧都連任嘅，所以我擔保咧，如果你俾一個機會我，你選我做你嘅代表咧，你以後一定會繼續選我嘅。多謝。
Okay, thank you.
3位參選者都表達咗自己嘅意願，咁咧就我哋而家開始咧，第一個問題咧就話啱啱喺過去嘅嗰個 Boxing Day 咧，一位15歲嘅少女喺多倫多街頭被無辜咁槍殺，我哋唔僅僅係要希望聽到呢個參選者對呢個槍戰同埋社會治安嘅譴責，我哋更希望能夠聽到所有嘅參選者喺對點樣改善加拿大嘅呢個治安環境，保障我哋有一個安定嘅生活環境咧，去有一啲咩更嚴厲嘅懲罰嘅措施同埋法律上嘅一啲制約。咁我哋同樣俾每人1分鐘去表達你哋嘅喺點樣去喺法律上加強制約同埋嚴懲嗰啲犯罪者。
Okay, I'm going to make this short. Let us start by a question asking all candidates. Everyone is talking about targeting gun crime these days. And the callers who called in my show yesterday are particularly angry. So what is your solution to this haunting issue? Let's start by Janice Hagan of the NDP. You have 1 minute again.
The solution is not more jails for our children. I work with children that have been in jail. I work with youth, men, women who have been kicked out of school. We can help by sustaining federal programs in those communities, by keeping those programs there, not demonstrating that programs work and then putting them on a shelf and leaving the next couple of generations of kids behind. These are kids who have lived through the cuts to welfare that happened 10 years ago because of federal cuts to provinces, so that the provinces were not able to build better schools, bigger schools. The number one cause of youth violence are having to go to a high school that's too big. Once you get too many thousands of our children in a high school, you're going to have violence. We need to spend more money in our communities, not in our jails.
Thank you, Ms. Hagan of the NDP.
首先咧，我哋個答案咧就唔係話去起多啲監獄㗎，好多啲青少年啊，我同佢哋喺監獄嘅入邊嘅有合作㗎。咁咧佢哋好多咧就係因為讀唔到書咧，就俾學校度踢出嚟。咁我哋希望咧，其實最緊要咧就係聯邦政府咧係要諗多次喺我哋嘅社區。咁好多而家犯罪嘅年青人咧，就係經過咗一個時間咧，就係因為個福利嘅制度越嚟越減少錢，係因為聯邦政府咧係唔將啲錢俾我個省政府嘅，變咗咧省政府唔可以擺啲錢喺個教育嘅機構同埋其他嘅福利嘅機構，咁變咗如果你第一個最大嘅原因點解嗰啲人犯罪，啲細路仔會犯罪，就因為佢哋學校咧即係啲 high school 啊係越嚟越多學生，如果你喺個學校有成1000個學生，你冇可能學到嘢嘅，所以我哋嘅政府應該擺錢喺我哋社區，唔係擺錢喺監獄。
Okay, 唔該晒 Amy。
第二位就係 Jolie 啦。
係啦 ，Jolie of the Conservative Party. How would you target gun crime？ 點樣去打擊槍械罪案
Well, you see, as I mentioned earlier, the Liberal have wasted $2 billion on gun registry. Instead of that money, more police officers would hire. The justice system currently is almost like broken. The solution is very simple. If the criminal committed crime, serious crime, they're going to be punished by serious punishment. Mandatory minimum sentences from 10 years up to life imprisonment. A unique example is just happening recently in Montreal. The police officer arrested the gentleman about 3 days ago. Guess what? The judge released the criminal, and 3 days later, she responded to a call. This time, she's unfortunate. She was gunned down by the same man that she arrested about 3 days ago. So under the Conservative, we will make sure that criminal will not be let out. Thank you.
Okay.
自由黨咧就嘥咗2個 billion 咧喺嗰個槍械嘅註冊，但係呢啲錢咧其實可以用嚟做其他嘢，例如咧請多啲警察。我哋嘅司法制度係已經係錯，淨係壞晒㗎啦，即係而咧我哋嘅係即係如果有人係真係做咗啲嚴重嘅犯罪咧，佢哋係應該嚴重嘅被懲罰。例如咧就有一個mandatory 嘅10年，至少要10年。甚至係到無期嘅徒刑嘅。咁例如咧就係 Montreal 嗰陣時咧，就有個男人咧就係即係3日之前咧俾個女警拉咗，咁嗰個法官就放咗佢出嚟。3日之後嗰個人咧就殺咗嗰個女警嘅。所以咧，我哋係應該係將呢啲人咧係嚴重咁去懲罰佢哋。
Okay, thank you. Last but not least, Mr. McConnell.
Thank you. My approach is a combination of what I heard on my left and on my right. On the one hand, we would toughen up. We would double mandatory minimum sentences. We are proposing a total ban on handguns. We would increase the number of officers at the border to stop the importation of guns. So yes, we would get tougher. But at the same time, we would extend funding to community groups and other groups at risk to go to the root causes. So the liberal approach would have a carrot and a stick, and I think that is the fundamental correct approach, as opposed to a conservative approach, which is stick only and no carrot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McConnell. 自由黨麥嘉廉先生。
我哋自由黨咧就係我哋嘅方針咧，就係我嘅兩邊嘅朋友咧，左邊同右邊個兩個連埋嘅。一方面咧，我哋係會加強嗰個犯罪嘅呢個懲罰，例如咧就係完全係禁制所有嘅手槍。另外咧，亦都會加強喺邊境嘅警察防衛，等嗰啲槍咧唔可以喺美國嗰度運入嚟。同時間，我哋亦都會擺多啲錢喺個社區，令到我哋可以針對嗰個犯罪嘅基本嘅原因，變咗咧我哋又有好嘅方面嘅做，亦都有即係喺加強呢個犯罪嘅嗰個嘅懲罰，兩邊一齊雙管齊下。
OK, thank you，好似唔該晒，特登俾一沓白紙你㗎，我估你有需要啊。
嘉豪啊，睇嚟你安排呢個座位新民主黨左邊同埋保守黨右邊係㗎。
係啊，特登話我按照個 political spectrum 咁坐啊。
咁咧就3位參選者咧都已經好清晰咁表達咗佢哋嘅呢個政見啦。咁下邊我哋進入第2 part。咁喺進入第2 part 之前咧，我再提醒大家一下，就係我哋呢邊有同事喺度會進行登記。Delia。呢度進行登記，咁你哋依間進入第3 part 進行發言嘅咧，先喺嗰度登記，我哋會按照登記嘅順序請你哋上嚟呢度進行呢個提問題。
OK， 咁我不如咧，而家呢一 part 我哋先向咗候選人發問先。OK, now I have a question for different candidates. Let's start with Minister of National Revenue, Mr. McConnell. OK。咁我首先咧就係想問下關於咧，即係大家呢排咧，無論係我哋嘅節目啊，或者社區裏面都關心就係人頭稅嘅問題啦。咁究竟咧，我嘅問題有2陣嘅。咁我第一陣係想問下，咁大家知道總理咧啱啱係口頭上係有應承係有個協議係道歉啦。咁當然啦，呢個係代表佢個人啦。一個喺法律上嘅種族歧視係需要一個喺法律上喺一個國會裏面嘅道歉嘅。咁究竟麥嘉廉議員會唔會贊成喺國會裏面道歉呢？呢個第一個問題。第二個問題就係俾華聯會同佢簽訂咗嗰250萬嘅協議，呢個係大家最關心。咁既然總理都話道歉啦，咁呢一個250萬嘅協議係包括咗冇道歉同冇賠償，佢會唔會推翻呢 呢個協議咧？咁我估麥嘉廉議員咧係未正式答過呢個問題嘅，咁我想問一句 ，OK, Mr. McCollum, on the health tax redress, the Prime Minister was apologizing on behalf of the government earlier this week when he said he was sorry about the health tax. And the callers who called in my show have expressed clearly for an apology to be meaningful, it will have to be issued in Parliament because legislative racism can only be dealt with legislative apology. So my two-part question to you is, let me start with the first one. As a cabinet minister, do you support a legislative apology in the Parliament? You can start.
That's the first part?
Yeah.
Okay.
One by one.
I believe that the Prime Minister expressed a very sincere apology, sincere regret, and I believe that he stated very clearly that this kind of behavior is totally unacceptable in today's Canada. On the other hand, it is clear that the Liberal Party does not want to go down the path of individual compensation. We prefer the $2.5 million which we have devoted to educational purposes, and I believe in this respect our policy, if I understand it correctly, is the same as the Conservative Party, and that we do not want to go down the path of individual compensation because we think that would open a Pandora's box, and we don't know where we would end up if we compensated everybody for anything that was a problem in Canadian history.
Okay, we don't need timing on that one, but in a nutshell, so do you personally support a legislative apology in the Parliament?
Well,
original question.
The Prime Minister has made a heartfelt apology. The Liberal Party has not stated
Will you, like as
a position
yourself?
On a legislated apology. If to the extent that a legislated apology would imply compensation for individuals, then I would think that was inappropriate.
Is it a no to my question?
It's a conditional answer. If a legislated apology implied compensation, I would think that was a dangerous path to go.
Okay, let's AD to translate the first part of the answer.
我覺得我哋嘅馬田總理咧已經俾咗個好真誠嘅道歉啦。咁而咧佢亦都係覺得咧，即係話今日嘅社會咧呢啲咁嘅行為係完全唔可以被接受嘅。咁但係我哋嘅自由黨嘅政策咧就係唔俾個人賠償。我哋咧係已經將250萬撥款咧係做教育嘅基金。咁我哋嘅立場其實係同保守黨一樣嘅，我哋唔希望俾個人賠償，因為咧如果我哋俾咗一個社區，就另外其他嘅社區會出嚟問我哋攞錢，咁會俾到幾時咧？咁而再李家豪先生再問咗之後咧，咁McCollum就話咧如果喺國會正式道歉咧，就會變咗要俾出個人賠償嘅話咧，咁我就會喺咁嘅情況之下咧，唔贊成呢個嘅喺國會嘅道歉嘅。
Okay. Okay. The second part of my question. Okay. Since the PM has already 我問翻麻聯會個問題啊，即係話會唔會麥嘉廉議員會唔會係贊成入咗國會之後，會贊成嗰個華聯會嘅250萬嘅協議即刻廢除咧 ？Okay, so since the PM has already personally apologized for the Chinese hack tax, so do you yourself, instead of your party, do you personally agree that the government should immediately terminate its earlier $2.5 million agreement in principle, which states no apology, no compensation? Would you agree to abolish the agreement now? Yes or no would do?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I like the agreement now.
So you would not terminate?
I would not terminate the agreement. The agreement has $2.5 million for educational purposes in combination with a heartfelt apology from the Prime Minister. I think if we go down the path of individual compensation, we are opening a Pandora's box for untold numbers of additional wrongs of history, and I think our package is appropriate.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McCollum.
咁接住先，假如我哋做個假設係呢個自由黨係選上咗佢啦，咁馬田總理會唔會去修改呢個協議咧？
Okay. So what about if the Liberal? Okay, it's from Andy. What about if the Liberal government got elected again? Would the Prime Minister?
修改或者係取消。
So would the Prime Minister, do you think, from your understanding, would he abolish the 2.5 million agreement in principle? Or would he at least adjust it? Or no is your answer again?
I can't speak for the Prime Minister on this issue. What the Prime Minister has done is, I believe, the appropriate thing to do. He has offered a heartfelt apology. He has offered $2.5 million, and he has indicated an unwillingness to go down the path of compensation for individuals. And to me, that is an appropriate and balanced package.
Thank you, Mr. McCollum. Amy， 咁頭先問到就係話，如果自由黨選上嘅話，我哋選咗個自由黨政府，係咪話聯會嘅協議照單250萬繼續去買咧
OK， 咁首先啊 ，McCollum 就話咧，佢咧我自己本身咧係覺得呢個協議係好嘅協議，因為俾咗250萬咧係俾教育嘅經費，同埋咧我哋嘅總理已經係道歉咗啦。如果我哋有個人賠償咧，就會有好多嘅歷史上面嘅錯誤，我哋都係要賠償嘅。咁再因為馬田總理已經係道歉咗，但係我唔可以代表馬田去講嘢。我覺得馬田做嘅嘢係正確嘅，佢已經係好真誠咁樣道歉咗，我哋係唔應該有個人賠償嘅。
Okay, thank you. Now is the question for Jolie, candidate of the Conservative.
Jolie 問你嘅就係話，有相當一部分嘅選民都認為咧，保守黨咧係唔重視移民嘅訴求，甚至有評論家認為咧，就係過去數十年嚟咧，保守黨根本唔重視呢個少數族裔。舉個比較例子，比如話當年安省嘅夏里斯上台之後咧，取消咗嗰個移民中心，即係 Ontario Welcome House。咁我哋注意到呢個星期三，保守黨領袖哈珀咧就喺呢個密市嘅會議上咧就提到咗會進行呢個移民政策。咁我哋問呢個問題就係、保守黨喺大選之前呢種突然嘅轉態係咪有真誠心誠意嘅？係咪臨急抱佛腳咁樣去收買選民手中嘅選票咧
Okay, it seems to Mr. Lee, it seems to a lot of us that I'll try to keep this short. It seems to a lot of us that for a pretty long time, the Conservatives do not treasure its relationship with the immigrants. This is particularly obvious during Ontario Premier Mike Harris' years when he cut a lot of services provided to immigrants, such as the closing of the Ontario Welcome House. And now, all of a sudden, Mr. Harper appeared to be, or at least try to be nice toward immigrants. Let me put it this way: is it too late for him to buy votes now?
Well, actually, that's totally wrong. The Conservative Party actually have done more to immigration. When Brian Mulroney came to power in '84, we expanded the immigration from 69,000 to 250,000. And for those of you who come in '83 to '93. If you have invested $500,000 in Canada, you would have been given a Canadian passport, without any residency requirement. No, on top of that, most hardworking immigrants are welcome to this country with open arms. When they are approved, they are able to include the parent, the brother and sister to come to Canada. But when the Liberal come to power in '93, guess what happened? They imposed the landing fees of $975. They also, separate the application. If you sponsor your parent, you have a brother and sister 18 plus, now they have to apply separately now. So, if you have children 18 just graduate from high school, no academic credential, no work experience, how are they going to qualify to come to Canada? So instead of family unification, it becomes a nightmare for family separation. It's almost reminded us the day of the Liberal Anti-Chinese Act 1923 to 49. Remember the act, Chinese Exclusion Act under the Liberal government, Mackenzie King. For 26 years, not a single Chinese was allowed to come to Canada.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
其實咧，我哋嘅保守黨咧就為咗移民做得更多嘅嘢，尤其是咧84年毛農嚟上場之後咧，移民嘅數字咧係增加由69000咧去到25萬嘅，而喺譬如係92年之前咧，你如果有錢咧，你就可以嚟㗎啦。而且我哋又帶更多嘅家庭嘅團聚啦，父母啊兄弟姊妹咧都係嗰陣時可以嚟嘅。但係93年所以自由黨一上場咧，佢哋增加咗嗰個975蚊嘅新嘅人頭稅，同埋咧好多即係譬如話兄弟姊妹咧就唔可以跟住家庭團聚咁樣，一定要分開咁樣去申請。咁譬如話，如果你一個仔女係即係大學啱啱好中學畢業啦，即係個學歷唔夠又冇事業經驗啦，佢哋係冇機會移民嚟加拿大嘅。呢個咧其實就同當年嘅排華法咧其實冇咩分別。當年嘅排華法咧就係23年到47年咧，亦都係自由黨政府咧係即係實施嘅。咁喺20幾年之間咧，係好少中國人可以嚟到加拿大嘅。咁呢啲都係呢個自由黨做出嚟嘅。所以咧就係家庭團聚咧喺自由黨之下咧，根本咧係好難咁樣嚟嘅。
Okay, thank you. Before the question goes to Ms. Hagan of the NDP, for those who are interested to ask questions directly to the candidate, you can sign up with our staff there. Just besides, just on my left, and when we open to the floor for questions, we will ask you to present your question. 咁我再次提一提啦，如果邊一個想問問題嘅話咧，歡迎咧係向我左手邊嘅同事咧就係去登記，咁我哋呢間咧係可以咧你可以有直接嘅機會向候選人質詢嘅。Okay, Ms. Hagan of the NDP， 我想問一問 Ms. Hagan 咧就係話。而家我哋見到係好多華人對新民主黨根本上咧係存有一個恐懼，因為 NDP 咧由李博年代省長已經開始，喂大佬成個形象就係洗腳唔抹腳，根本上喺財政上去使錢啊理財方面咧一塌糊塗，你點叫我再信你啫大佬？即係嗰次嗰啲係噩夢嚟㗎嘛喺李博年代。咁喺呢一個時候，點解我哋仲要中意你個黨咧 ？Okay, Ms. Hagan, a lot of the Chinese here are scared of the NDP's way of spending money, the NDP's crazy way of spending money, I have to say. And some even call the NDP is not even responsible. It's not a responsible party when it comes to financial management. They still live in the nightmare of the Bob Race years, I have to say. So for the Chinese voters who prefer low tax rate in this riding, for instance, why should they like you?
Okay, we do not spend money crazily. There's a lot of money that needs to be spent now so that we won't have to spend so much in the future. For example, in our environment, in our children, who does not take out a mortgage before they buy a house, right? You need to buy a house. You don't sell your house because you're in debt. You need the house for the future of your family. The NDP is not wanting to raise any taxes for anyone. We need to stop throwing money away at consultants and lobbyists and other friends of political power. We need to start spending our money more efficiently. We do not waste money. Working people do not need to carry the tax burden they're carrying, which has been shifted during the Liberal years from large corporations to working class people who don't have enough money to begin with. You can trust me, I work for a very low wage, comparatively speaking, at this table, and I raised a family of 6. I know how to run a union on enough money that my members do not have to increase their dues. I am very aware of spending other people's money responsibly, but we do not trick people and treat them with candy and promises of tax cuts now when we are leaving the burden of the environment and the social structure to our children. I don't want my children spitting on my grave because I left the problem to them.
Thank you. So you don't think the Chinese likes you?
I work with many Chinese people and they do love me and they all tell me they want to vote for me.
Thank you, Janice. Okay, 唔該晒，Ms. Hagan新民主黨 Amy。
我哋唔係亂使錢嘅，其實咧好多時候咧，我哋而家使嘅錢咧，令到我哋將來咧就可以慳翻啲錢嘅。例如我哋要係擺錢喺我哋嘅細路仔啦，我哋嘅同埋我哋嘅環境嘅保護啦。咁好似譬如話你買屋咧，你都要攞 mortgage 啦，因為你而家攞咗 mortgage，等你將來咧有間屋喺度，咁你唔使使錢啦，係咪？咁所以咧，同埋咧， 我哋係要使錢咧係好小心，同埋咧唔係亂咁使嘅。我哋唔會為話抌啲錢俾我哋啲政治嘅朋友啊，俾我啲顧問啊，去幫佢哋嘅事業啊，同埋咧。喺呢個其他嘅黨之下咧，佢哋就將嗰個稅務嘅負擔咧，由呢個大公司嗰啲企業嗰度咧，就轉到去呢個個人，尤其是係嗰啲勞苦大眾。我自己本身咧就係一個做嘢嘅人，有可能呢度三個人之間咧，我賺錢係最少，我要養屋企咧6個人，所以我知道賺錢係好難嘅。咁而且我係一個工會嘅代表，我做咗咁多年工會咧，我嘅工會嘅會員都唔使要加嘅工會錢嘅，因為我哋知道點樣去好好咁去運作，我哋唔會亂咁答應你話要減稅啊，或者俾錢你啊去贏你嘅票。我唔希望將今日即係我哋唔使嘅錢啦，變咗係將來一個負擔啦，俾我哋嘅細路嘅。我同好多華人工作，我知道佢哋咧係多謝係支持我嘅。
多謝啊，律師。
嗱，咁我哋啊，而家我哋咧就係開放個平台咧，等台下所有嘅觀眾可以係向候選人直接提問嘅喎。
即是話唔係就係我哋講，佢講，你哋都可以講。咁咧就呢個係第3 part 啦。咁我哋馬上進入第3 part，就係根據登記嘅次序嚟提問題。
係啦。
如果有人繼續要發言嘅，可以喺嗰度繼續登記。
So once again, you can continue to sign up on my left. And 頭5位嘅朋友 ，OK, let me call the first 5 people who have signed up first. Please get ready. 第1位係 Candy Shui， 姓徐嘅。
姓徐嘅。
第2位 the second one Caroline Jin。
第2位請準備。
Caroline Jin。第3位係 Amy Go。Amy Go。The fourth one Calvin Chi。第5位係劉光英。英雄。Okay, it seems we're ready, Andy.
每人係提一個問題，
係啦，
要喺1分鐘內要問完。
So one question for everyone, and keep your question like asking it within 1 minute. So we start with Mr. Shui, Candy Shui. 徐先生。
各位好。Most Canadians, especially those not too much care about politics, do have a negative concept that whichsoever party being the government, corruption will also exist. My concern is that at present, for the sake of Canada, we don't want to see any party or any government officials or MPs taking the advantages of the root of the light punishment of grey area of law to reach for their own or their party's interest or stealing money from Canada. For example, the recent discovered great corruptions of the Liberals. The relevant MPs or advantageous supporters only got a phase to 2 months for punishment, which is greatly unacceptable. So I would ask each one of the 3 candidates to answer one by one on their point. How do you think about this and your parties take action to prevent such corruption being repeated again by means of an existing law or system or any further platform or policy issue to prevent or to enforce severe punishment in order to have a reliable government in the future?
Hey, you are very smart. You have a long preamble. Question at the end.
後面幾位要記住，你哋要係問問題，有啲背景資料介紹同埋你哋嘅意念啊各方面咧就
係啊，喂唔使咁，哇呢個好醒目，我要杜住呢樣嘢先得咁長嘅 preamble。OK， 咁啊一言以蔽之啊，就係話嗰個嘅 corruption 嗰個嘅政府啊貪污嘅問題就一嚴重，當然啦加拿大冇 ICAC 噶嘛，咁但係點樣去解決呢一個問題？點樣政府喺我哋嘅袋度攞錢喎 ？OK， is this a question for a specific candidate or? So do you want a specific candidate? 你想唔想問某一個候選人呢 ？Okay, every candidate. Okay, so I guess we have to be short in this case then. Let's start with Mr. McCollum.
Well, it's a fundamentally important question, and in the case of the Gomery Commission and the sponsorship scandal, clearly bad things and dishonest things did happen. And that's why Paul Martin pulled out all the stops to let all the chickens come home to roost, to make sure that the guilty people were punished, and to make sure that everything was done to get the money back, and to make sure that resources are put in to hire hundreds more auditors to make sure that this kind of thing does not happen again in the future, and that the guilty are indeed punished.
Thank you, Ms. McCollum. Amy.
呢個問題係非常之重要嘅。我哋知道個 Gomery 嗰個inquiry， 即係嗰個
嗰個贊助撥款醜聞。
有贊助醜聞啦，咁咧所以咧我哋知道係嗰個醜聞，我哋學咗啲嘢啦。我哋嘅總理咧就係做咗好多嘢去防止呢樣嘢再發生嘅。例如咧，我哋就嗰啲有罪嘅人咧，一定要係受到懲罰。另外咧，我哋要攞翻即係嘥咗嗰啲錢，同埋咧我哋就請咗好多新嘅超過100個嘅新嘅核數師，等我哋咧可以防止呢個事情再發生嘅。
Okay, thank you.
第二位係 Jolie。
We just hear what McCollum said about the local government. So far, not even a single person went to jail after spending $332 million. So my question is very serious. Like if they admit that they're taking some money, how come still no one was going to jail? Under the Conservative government, we will make sure anyone found guilty, they will go straight to the jail, and we'll create a department of accountability to make sure that people will be accountable for every money they receive. They have to report to Parliament. We will prevent corruption and entitlement. No special privilege will become friendly agency for contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
喺自由黨之下咧，雖然話我哋係即係有啲人係承認咗佢哋犯咗罪嘅，但係咧冇一個人咧係要需要坐監。呢個同埋咧係我哋嘥咗332個 million 之後嘅事，同埋咧都仲係咧冇一個人係要去坐監嘅。如果係保守黨嘅話咧，呢啲有罪嘅人咧就即刻要去坐監，同埋咧我哋會成立一個部門咧，係令到所有嘅政府嘅工作人員咧，佢哋使嗰個錢咧都要向國會報導，變咗我哋可以防止貪污，同埋咧就會話有人咧即係政客咧就係幫佢哋啲朋友賺錢嘅。
Okay, thank you. Ms. Janice Hagan of the NDP. 新民主黨 Janice.
Thank you. The job of stopping the theft of our money is up to us, the people of Canada. You're making the first step by coming out today to look in the face of the people running instead of just blindly voting for a party, of looking at the individuals and saying, who would I trust? Secondly, when someone steals from you, you don't elect them again. That's the way it goes. If the Liberals have let us down, we don't reward them by electing them again. Is that how we treat? Is that how we're going to treat our young offenders? You say you don't want to let them out again. Why let the Liberals out again? I am not here to steal your money. I have made several personal sacrifices to do the kind of work I do helping people. In fact, right now I'm on a leave without pay for 6 weeks because that's what government employees have to do if they run for power. So, run for parliament. If I'm over Christmas with 4 kids to support, 6 weeks without pay, you can trust me. Thank you.
OK， 唔該晒新民主黨嘅 Janice Hagan。
我覺得咧呢個即係防止貪污咧，第一步咧就係睇我哋自己嘅，而你哋咧就行咗一個好緊要嘅第一步，就係你哋出嚟呢個嘅大會咧，去面對面睇住你哋要選嘅人係咩嘢，唔係話盲目咁樣求其去選嘅。咁而你要知道咧邊個你可以信任，你先會選。咁同埋咧，我哋就如果真係有人偷我哋嘅錢，如果咩黨偷我哋錢，我哋就要懲罰佢哋，唔好再選佢哋。咁而我自己個人嚟講咧，我亦都係要犧牲咗我自己好多嘢咧，先至可以出嚟競選嘅。我係因為我係一個聯邦嘅職員，我出嚟競選咧係要即係請假無薪嘅請假，變咗咧我要即係個聖誕嗰陣時都係無薪咁樣喺屋企照顧我4個細路，所以我話俾你聽，我係會盡我嘅所能去幫你嘅。
OK， 多謝。我哋想提一提咧，就係每一位嘅發問嘅朋友咧，就向指定一位候選人提問嘅。係，因為我哋想俾更多嘅機會時間咧，俾後邊嘅朋友問。Because we would like more people can ask questions, so we would hope that each questioner from the floor can designate your question to a specific candidate. Okay, so let's start with Carolyn Jin.
Hello, my name is Carolyn Jin. I passed by Queen's Park this afternoon. There was a rally there to celebrate that 7 million people withdrew from their membership from the Chinese Communist Party. This was triggered by a book which is entitled 9 Commentaries on Chinese Communist Party by Epoch Times. We all know that China is a big country with huge potential market. Canada, especially the Liberal government, always keep silent on China's bad human rights record. They always put trade in front of human rights. But today, we saw 7 million Chinese people withdraw their membership from the Chinese Communist Party. Do you think that we should still ignore this? If the Chinese Communist Party collapses in the near future, are we ready for that? The question goes for Ms. John McCullough.
OK， 以下嘅問題咧係俾國務部呢個稅務部長文家廉先生嘅，咁啊即係一言以蔽之啊，中國嘅人權紀錄差到無倫，咁啊但係咧我哋睇到政府啊或者各方面嘅立場咧，咁同中國嗰個關係咧係尤其是可能文家廉先生咧一路係想修補同即係改善中國兩國嘅關係啦。咁佢點睇？尤其是呢位朋友 Caroline 提到話嗰個退黨嘅問題啦，好多嘅共產黨員退黨各方面嘅問題。咁啊，張言之就問下你對中國人權嘅睇法啦。OK, Mr. McCullough, the question is for you.
Well, thank you. It's a good question. And I believe that with China emerging as a world supereconomy, Canada should increase its economic ties with China. And I visited China as an energy minister to try to increase ties in oil. But the point you're making about human rights, I also believe that every Canadian minister who goes to China should raise the subject of human rights, and I did that when I was there. But the final point I would make is that there are human rights abuses in China. The situation has improved over the last decade or so, and I really do believe for the whole rest of the world, the worst thing to do is to build fences around China and exclude it from the international scene. I don't think that will improve human rights. I think the best way is to express the government's anxiety when we visit China, but at the same time to bring China into the international scene rather than, as you seem to be suggesting, try to build walls around China and exclude it.
Thank you, Mr. McCullough. Gary, 人權問題、中國人權問題同埋佢嘅立場。
呢個係非常之好嘅問題。中國咧係越嚟越做一個喺國際上面一個緊要嘅超級嘅經濟嘅國家。咁而我覺得咧，加拿大係應該咧繼續咧喺經濟方面咧同中國咧合作嘅。咁而我自己本身咧亦都去過中國一次，係當我係做能源嘅部長嗰陣時。咁而每一個去中國嘅部長咧，都應該向中國提出人權嘅問題。我當時去咧，亦都有提出呢個問題。當然喺中國人權係一個嚴重嘅問題，但係我覺得過去10年咧係呢個問題有進步到嘅。而最唔好嘅事咧就係如果我哋喺中國嘅外面咧係起咗個圍牆，變咗咧我哋係唔可以參與中國入面嘅內部嘅問題。咁樣係唔會幫助到中國嘅人權嘅進步嘅。咁所以我哋係應該將中國帶入呢個嘅環球嘅社區，咁樣我哋先至可以幫佢哋解決人權問題。
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Mr. McCullough. 跟住係Amy Go。
係我哋希望就係問題 Judge Preston。
Okay. The Ontario Coalition of Taxpayers and Families has just sent a survey to all 4 major parties. We did not receive a response from the Liberal Party, but we did receive a response from all the other 3 parties, and they have all supported the position of the coalition on parliamentary resolution to acknowledge the racist law. They also support the symbolic amount as restitution to the taxpayers and spouses, and also rescinding the agreement of the recently federally announced program, ACE program for $2.5 million. So my question is to the Tory as well as the NDP candidate. If you are elected, how are you going to ensure that your parties keep your promise to redress the taxpayers and their descendants and to ensure parliamentary resolution as well as rescinding the program?
Amy, I have to be fair, one candidate only.
The Tory candidate.
Okay, hard choice. 嗱咁因為咧如果下低台下嘅朋友可以講中文咧，咁你哋講嘅原汁原味啲啦。I'm just saying that if the questioner from the floor, if you know Cantonese, you can speak that as well, so that that would not be deviation of the translation.
Okay.
再講一次。
廣東話嘅問題係啦，
安省我哋嘅安省人頭稅後人咧係有個聯盟，咁咧我哋係 send 咗一個問卷去俾我哋嘅政黨，4個政黨，自由黨係冇答問，其他3個政黨都有回覆我哋，佢哋係支持我哋聯盟嘅立場，包括佢哋會去國會有承認呢個係一個種族歧視嘅法案，即係人頭稅同埋排華法。第二，佢哋係會賠償我哋嘅人頭稅嘅生還者同埋佢哋嘅後人。第三，佢哋亦都係會贊成咧，係會有一個將而家聯邦政府最近佢哋嗰個2.5個 million 嘅100萬嗰個 program 咧係會取消佢。咁咧我嘅問題其實係要俾保守黨同埋新民主黨嘅黨員，就係如果你哋嘅政黨係得選嘅話，你哋點樣去make sure 你哋嘅政黨咧係會喺國會保持你哋呢個承諾，一定會將我哋嘅人頭稅嘅呢個事情咧係圓滿咁樣解決。
多謝你嘅問題 ，Thank you for the question. I think this is a question for Jolie, the Conservative candidate， 保守黨李國賢。
Thank you for the question. Our party position was very clear. We made an official statement recently that on January 23rd in the next parliament, we will apologize officially to the wrongful act that was committed to the head tax victim and the family. And I believe that the NDP have the same position. We are, unlike the Liberal, will just pick some friendly group of Chinese association, bribe them with 2.5 million and ask them to come up with the solutions that no apology is necessary. Our approach is we're going to sit down after the apology in Parliament with the Chinese community, ask them to give us, try to have a consensus among themselves and give us a reasonable answer. What kind of compensation are we going to hand out, especially to the victim family? And we are looking forward to work with all sections of the Chinese community. Thank you very much.
我哋保守黨嘅立場係好清楚嘅。1月23號我哋正式成為政府咧，我哋首先咧就會向華人社區咧喺呢件嘅即係不公平嘅事情上面道歉，同埋咧我哋唔係好似自由黨咁樣咧，我哋唔係會揀我哋自己嘅朋友嘅組織咧，就俾錢俾佢哋咧，等佢哋咧就攞咗錢之後咧就唔需要我哋道歉，唔需要我哋賠償，我哋係會同華人社區做一個嘅諮詢。希望華人社區可以達成一個嘅一致嘅立場，俾一個合理嘅方法咧嚟解決，尤其是咧係直接係點樣去賠償嗰啲直接嘅受害人。咁我哋係即係好希望有個咁樣嘅機會同華人社區一齊合作嘅。
跟住咧，我哋未去另外嗰2位朋友之前咧，我想啱下邊嗰幾位嘅就係Okay, before we carry on, I'm just going to announce Alan Wu, Da Chen Li, Chuan Li. So you can get ready. The order is Alan Wu, Da Chen Li, and Chuan Li.
You got Kevin.
Okay, yes, now we go to Calvin Chi.
Okay, hi. I have 2 questions, both to Mr. McCarthy. First is, we all know a party, if it is in power too long, if it has the monopoly of power, or if it believes it has the power of a monopoly, it tends to corrupt. To me, this has been very evident to the Liberal Party of Canada. My question is, Mr. McCarthy, after so long, after 12 years in power, 4 consecutive governments, okay, people put a lot of trust in you, and after scandal after scandal, promise after promise, and Liberal Party steal taxpayer, your money and our money, how can you ask us to trust us again and vote you the 5th time?
Okay, would you like to say that in Cantonese? Okay. Ivy 你想唔想解釋下個問題啊？
我個人覺得咧，一個黨咧，如果佢哋在位有權力咧太耐咧，同埋佢哋有即係一個獨權嘅話咧，咁咧佢哋就會自然咧就會係貪污㗎啦。咁而呢個自由黨嘅呢個咧，即係好明顯咧就係咁樣嘅事情發生咗。咁而一個嘅 scandal， 即係一個醜聞，一個嘅醜聞發生，經過咁多次，我哋選咗你4次。我想問麥卡林就係話點解，即係經過咁多次嘅醜聞之後，點解我哋仲要再信你？點解要選你第5次
Okay, Mr. McCollum, a theme like lots of dramas, TV drama series, trust and corruption. Your response on this? Why should we trust you?
I don't accept the premise in the sense that in my experience, all of my cabinet colleagues, all of my friends in the Liberal Party are very honest, hard-working, dedicated, committed people. Yes, there are a few bad apples in the barrel, and we discovered that through the Gomery Commission. Thanks to that commission, which the Prime Minister provided all the information to, we are going after those people. But the vast majority of people that I have come to meet in political life are committed to Canada, honest people committed to the well-being of Canadians. And as to why Canadians should vote for the Liberal Party, my answer is just look at the Conservative Party. Ask yourself, do you want to go to the war in Iraq? Do you want to not respect the Canadian Charter of Rights? Do you want to not respect the environment and not sign on to Kyoto? Do you make up the situation with regard to multiculturalism and immigration when your party has a history of not really believing in those things? Those are the questions that Canadians have to ask come election day.